Annyeonghaseyo, Srinamida. Hey Roses, back to do the last of the journals I hadn't done a flip through for yet, so that I can be caught up. This one I got from Five Below. I just liked it because it had all the gummy bears, and gummy bears is one of my favorite candy, so. This one was from, block that, July 3rd, 2023 to March 16th, 2024. This was a note that John had put in there for me. And this was a birthday card from my uncle. Mentioned that I was really happy to be spending time with John again, just because it felt like it had been so long. And then mentioned how we went to several stores, Books A Million, Five Below, a used bookstore near them, and Books A Million. Sorry, my hand is itching. Mentioned that this day made me pretty anxious, mostly because I was having to look after Papa alone because Grandma had an appointment out of town. And anytime I have to look after him alone really stresses me out, and I hate doing it. I love the man to death, but it just, looking after him alone really gets to me. This day was pretty chaotic because Papa hadn't been feeling well. He had a pretty high fever, so when his nurse from hospice came by, and was ordering like antibiotics and stuff for him. This was from my biological dad's funeral. So my uncle got me one of the programs because I was out of town actually the day of his funeral. And then I found out 3 days later his brother, my uncle Mike, had passed. They didn't really know the cause of it. My guess at the time was heat stroke because this was July and he didn't have his air unit on. But no, it turns out he died of congestive heart failure. This was something I did a while back. With how bad Papa was, his nurse didn't think that he would last the night, which was kind of hard to hear, but he just wasn't doing good at all. Then I mentioned that I got into a new manga series called Demon Prince of My Mochi House. And then I mentioned, because one of my ways of de-stressing, for those that are new, I tend to declutter a lot when I'm stressed out. And so the following day, that's pretty much what I did. I did some cleaning and decluttering for about 4 or 5 hours. I had done the entirety of the kitchen. I had even cleaned out the fridge, so I did a lot that day. These are some books that were checked out at the library. Mentioned now that I was through with the kitchen, I planned to tackle other areas. Just because there was so much stuff in their house. That it was ridiculous. Also wanted to declutter a bunch of Papa's tools because he had so many triples and quadruples of certain tools that he didn't really need. Not to mention he had 2 storage sheds. And then I mentioned I'd finished organizing the spare closets the following day. But I was glad to be able to get all that filmed and just ready. This is a Build-A-Bear certificate thing for the cinema roll plushie that John got me that's actually sitting right over there. And then this day was when Papa had passed away. It was just rough on all of us. I knew that it was going to be, and I even said I wish that I had told him I loved him before I went to John's on Friday, because when I got up to leave, he looked like he was just asleep, and I didn't want to wake him and cause any disturbance for Grandma. But if I had actually known that that was going to happen, I would have gone in there. Everything from Build-A-Bear. And then this was talking about the funeral. That I wished John could have made it to the funeral, but sadly he could not. This day was just a kind of calm, just another day of going through Papa's things. Mainly worked on his closet, also a lot of shredding. I shredded so much stuff for them, it was ridiculous. I mentioned that I went through his closet and found a bunch of like pairs of shoes that he never wore, brand new with tags, and I was just super confused. This one was another day of going through Papa's things. And I found a lot of books that were sexual in nature, which is not something that I wanted to find out about. Also, apologies if you hear what sounds like a dog barking. That's actually a squirrel right outside my window. We also found like a ton of change and several safes at the time, which was strange. So another day of going through his things, and then this was a bunch of like sympathy cards that we had gotten from family and people at our bank and the investors that we had and stuff. And then I also had gotten an exciting package, which was a sweet gesture from someone off Instagram. She had some extra copies of Mugen's albums, as well as Dan's album photo cards, and sent them my way, which was super, super sweet. Did more organizing the following day. Decided to turn the spare closet that had the breaker into like the medical closet because there were shelves in there. Mentioned I did more decluttering because it was just so much stuff in the house and everything. And these are more sympathy cards for Papa. And the same here too. Also on these two as well. This was just a pretty chilled Christmas. My Aunt Mady got me some perfumes off Dossier, which I was really excited about it. And I was just talking about like Christmas and stuff, so this was a Demon Slayer acrylic standee that I gotten from Five Below. And this was a Christmas card from my granny, so I was excited to have that. And I got to spend Christmas with John, but then New Year's Eve I had to come back. It was just rough. Because I wanted to spend more time with him, but I couldn't because I don't want Grandma to be alone. More Christmas cards that I had gotten from family. These are different tags from Christmas gifts and stuff. This day, my brother and his wife came over and tried to get Grandma to eat and take her medicine, but she had just been sleeping all day, and it was just a lot. But my Uncle Tommy and I did decide to clean up the porch a little bit, because there was so much stuff there. This day was rough. Well, at least this entry was rough, because this is when I talked about Grandma passing away on the 8th. And we think it was something with her oxygen machine malfunctioning. So we think that's what really made it progress as fast as it did. And we're still trying to clean up stuff from their house and stuff, like even now, and it's still rough. We just talked about different books I was reading at the time and ones I picked up from the library to read, and it was just pretty crazy. And then these are notes from people that I had bought off of Instagram, as well as for some group orders I was a part of. So some candles I finished that I really liked. This actually this was an obituary for my Aunt Dot. I wasn't able to go to her funeral, and I found it in their stuff, so I kept it and stuck it in there. More notes from John. Just mentioned that I wish I could have stayed longer, but I knew that Mama needed my help. So that's why I didn't try to make a super big deal about it. Mentioned that my brother and his wife basically met up with us at Grandma's so they could get like some tools that they needed that Papa had multiples of and everything. This day I did have 2 packages come in. One was the Kingdom shirts I joined a group order for, and then the second one was the Shishomaru Funko Pop that John got me. Just because I really love Shishomaru. He's like one of my favorite. He was actually one of my first anime crushes, so. Mentioned that we were still going through some of their things and it was pretty rough, but that I wanted to get a bunch of like old photos together and do a scrapbook of one dedicated to the 2 of them. So mentioned I would like to get some like of their sweaters or shirts to turn into a quilt. I just think that would be a really cool way to keep their clothes with me, even if it doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is a sympathy card from our bank. This is something that I made them a long time ago, it feels like makeshift Christmas card. This is the tag from the Kingdom shirts. This I found, and it was a Christmas card written to me by, it was either to me or to Papa. Let me actually look. Come on, come on. Oh, it was to me. Okay. I still miss him a lot too. It's just a lot. This is something I did for Grandma years ago, and it was color by sticker, where you actually put the stickers together and make a picture. And I had given her the pineapple one so long ago because that's like one of her favorite flavors. Like, there's a place in town where she would get pineapple milkshakes, and it was one of her favorite things to get. I mentioned that I wanted to get some scrapbooks for all like the transplant memorabilia, which I have done, and have 2 scrapbooks for transplant. That was kind of a fun project to do, honestly. This is something that Mama did years ago, like painted, that Grandma had kept all these years. Mentioned that I'd like to go through all of the like Christmas and birthday bags and just pick a few that were my favorites so that we could have them to use, because I feel like the bulk of them is gonna go to Aunt Sandra, just because she's got so many people in her family. So and this day I also went and got showers and went to the library to check out some more books. So I was excited about that. I got like the last 4 volumes of Death Note, among many others. Crossword that I did. And this is like another one of the memorabilia pouches that I kept in the back. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this flip through. Let me know down below what number journal you're on, if you journal, or if you have any journaling ideas you want to share with us in the comments. I would love to know. But with all that being said, I will talk to you guys soon in another video, another time. Bye, roses. Annyeong.